Okay, so this is about the Dark Cabal, secret government, the Illuminatis, the ruling families of the planet, um, black hats in government organizations? The list goes on. What names can we say? I did a video a little while back about the Illuminati, how they started. I don't really like using that name for many purposes. What's up with that is that to face the Latin language, see that just means the illuminated ones, the shining ones. They're not the only shining ones, and the true ones who are illuminated are really of a higher consciousness. Like Jesus, he was illuminated. He's higher than them, certainly. Yet they flatter themselves with such a name, and steal such a name, and pervert such a name, and laugh at us and go, heh 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 heh. Look at them, fools. We're the smart ones. We're the eye at the top of the pyramid. And all the other bricks, 13 tiers down, give us your dollars, and we will enslave you. To elucidate, the first video was about the Illuminati and what people think about as these dark puppet masters, the black hands, the hidden hands, the secret agendas, the New World Order, how that began. Yet you must know, even before that time, we on Earth, as a human race, from that perspective, we were still, amidst a timeline of events, and we're laying our present course on such a timeline that is very sad, obviously, and we cry many tears, and we've had to face many challenges, I'll say. So there's different factions, and they're at war. These dark beings who are ruling humanity, who we need to overthrow and figure out their riddles so they can't stay here. And there's a bunch of riddles into higher consciousness for the things they do, such as the name for the terrorist organization, ISIS. That's the Egyptian god Isis, the goddess Amenti, who's the goddess of cats and birds, and many other things. It's the Statue of Liberty, the woman holding the Book of Wisdom, and the Torch of Light, aka the Illuminati, the Torch. So it all comes full circle into that crystal pyramid of understanding, which I am hinting at, pointing a finger at right now. Yet what I really would like to talk about is before the whole modern day Illuminati started, and that's what the first video about. It's not really the first video, but if you check my videos, it's how the Illuminati started. Before that, before the flood, there was already a whole thing going on called Atlantis. So the Atlantean Empire was obviously before 13,000 years ago, before the age of Pisces. Now we're in the new dawn of the age of Aquarius, but even before that, Atlantis was around for hundreds of thousands of years, and there was always a dark group trying to control them for one cycle back, so 26,000 years ago. That's when the other parts of the Dark Cabal started to come into our evolution, and that was, to be clear, turning of the cycle, the precession of the equinox, going into the age of Pisces, which is going to be considered a male-dominated age. Going into the age Pisces was before, so this was a whole thing even before that, this male-dominated age that we see. And the beings that came into the human race weren't really human souls. There were beings from Mars, and then there was the Hebrew or Jewish extraterrestrials. And they came into our human physicalities, their spirits and their souls, but really it created other races too. That's how the white man came. The white man came from Mars. It's true. The white people came from Mars 26,000 years ago, and some would argue even before that, when, the mud people, the red and the black people, all that, they came in to that race, and then, like, it was really the spirit, but then it became white, and our souls, and also the other people who were pretty white, not as white as the Martians or Caucasoidal, would be the Jewish race, the Hebrew race of extraterrestrials, which almost made it to the higher level of consciousness that we're all ascending to, who choose to stay on Earth within these next 5 years. And they just barely didn't make it. So the Jewish race was considered a tiny bit higher than all the people on Earth, and so were the Martians, because they remember the other cosmic consciousnesses. And they came in and tried to control the people of the Earth, like the mud people. Again, and everything got mixed up, tossed salad, and intermingled. Yes, there was this that happened, yet they entered and came down into our cycle, breed with us. Yet the ones who maintained the pure bloodlines, and that's why bloodlines is important, were the people who became the puppet masters with the black hands and the hidden agenda. Even to this day, there's different sections of the Illuminati, so it's not reptilian, it's the people from Mars who weren't allowed to live on the planet anymore because they blew it up and there was war, and the Hebrew race, which didn't fully evolve, and these two always thought that they were a little bit of a higher consciousness than humans, so they were trying to pull the reins of humanity and steward them forth in their own way and be their liberators to light. So now with the people coming up into the flood, there was them, and then there was also the Egyptians who were exposed to certain extraterrestrials who corrupted the knowledge that the extraterrestrials gave them, which I talked about in the first video, and they corrupted the knowledge that the extraterrestrials gave them and started enslaving humanity based on that. And so you really have these three kind of perspectives, but they all kind of intermingled, but the ones that didn't intermingle maintained their bloodlines to their ancient past and became more of a pure channel for certain different kinds of lights. The Jewish race didn't really have a Luciferian light, but that's why there's so much things about Zionism and everything. It's part of all this. It's a very large subject, and indeed that is an important part of the tree. But just to tell you how this whole thing evolved into this whole reptilian thing today, the reptilians are a group of extraterrestrials that these people channel because these extraterrestrials are Luciferian. They came from the Orion constellation, and they created up all these wars out of nothing in the Orion constellation and started channeling Luciferian light, and they were strong, and now the people who are in control today, that's why you see David Icke's reptilians, is because they're channeling and taking on the energy of such an ET race. So the ET race even has their imprint of control through them into humanity and the masses. That's why there's not just one group or one bloodline or one cabal or one secret government. There's a bunch, and they work together in certain ways, but they also fight in certain ways, and that's part of the darkness that we're rubbing out right now. So Past 10 minutes. Enjoy the video. Questions or comments on YouTube. Thank you very much. Peace out.